'cause I got my own way to rock. Clap for the Wolfman. Life is the way it should be. She's come undone. Don't give me no hand-me-down love. Maybe I'll be there to shake your hand. Maybe I'll be there to share the land. These eyes, American woman, listen what I say.
All right, the Guess Who's American Woman was the first Canadian song to hit #1 on Billboard, the biggest selling single of 1970. Our guest started his first band at age 14, eventually fronting the Guess Who for its 10 most formative years. And then afterwards, well, he went on to release 7 solo albums. Or is it up to, what is it up to, 8, 9? What are we up to now?
Well, between Guess Who and solo, it's over 30.
Yeah, incredible. Hold on, I'm still introducing you.
Okay.
Winning Juno after Juno along the way, he's received the Order of Canada, the highest honor the country bestows on a civilian. He even has 4 university doctorates, and he's coming to Caesars Windsor March 23rd. Simply put, a bona fide rock legend. Good morning, Burton Cummings.
Hello there.
Hello there.
My goodness, that's quite the intro. Now, how do I live up to all of that?
I had to take my inhaler before I read it. So,
wow, goodness.
Well, we got through it. First off, I heard a rumor you've got some family in the Leamington area. Is this true?
Not that I know of. I mean, there are a whole bunch of Cummings people that I have never met. So there may be some in Ontario, someplace, but I keep hearing rumors about that. But you know, I'm over 60 now. I've never met these people, so I'm not really sure.
People always say it's a joke and a travesty that Rush isn't in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I think the same way about the Guess Who, and I'm not the first one to say that. Why is the Guess Who and Burton Cummings not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not worried about that. I think it may have something to do with the fake Guess Who that's been out there for God knows how many years. I wouldn't, you know what, honestly, and I say this with all honesty, if we were invited now to come down and be inducted, I wouldn't go, because I think the fake guys would be there, the guys from the fake band would be there, and then the next day they'd be back out on the road with the fake Guess Who. I'm not sure Randy would go either, you know. But I mean, here's the thing. The records will stand forever, and the real fans know who wrote and sang the records. And that's all the legacy I ever wanted, was to cut records, you know. And the beauty is that the records have never gone away. I still hear our first big Guess Who records from 1968 and 9 and 70. I still hear them all the time, whether I'm in Canada or the States. So the wonderful thing as a songwriter, to see your songs stick around for decades and they've never gone away. To me, that is more than, you know, that's more than fulfilling. And I have a pretty broad internet presence now, and I'm hearing from people in New Zealand and Europe and all over the world that saw me live at one time or another. And they're thrilled that we're able to be in touch with each other. You know, the Internet is wonderful for consolidating fans in one place. You know, it puts us all in one place, and we can actually talk to each other.
You know, you were making, music back in you mentioned, the late 60s or early 70s, that when rock had such an organic, relatable quality to it. And it's not that there's not a lot of innovative and great rock that's out today that's being made. It's just so overly produced, and it's so unnatural. It's just an unnatural vibe to it. I know computers play a big role in that whole thing, too, but do you think that it's just the attitude of today's rockers that's changed?
Well, you know, the problem, I call it a problem. So you see how easily I call it a problem? The problem with the computers is that what has happened, and you used the very word I would use, organic. When I did my last album, Above the Ground, we used very, very little of all of that. Of course, you have to mix with computers nowadays, but as far as auto-tune and everything, you know, all those records we made in the early days, Guess Who and solo stuff for me, I never used auto-tune. When I hear the vocals I did way back, I'm very proud of them because that's the way I sang them. I didn't have computers to help me. Nowadays, you can tune the human voice with the computers the way you can tune a guitar. And so everything is a little more perfect. Everything's perfectly in tune. Every little bad note on the guitars and keyboards has been fixed and replaced. And what happens is things do start sounding a little too perfect. It's a little bit unnatural. Mm-hmm. You go back and listen to Elvis and Sinatra and the Beatles and the classic rockers, there's the odd clunker note here and there, but that's what makes it human, and those were the wonderful days to me. It's not that I don't like the new technology. I've embraced it, but it does sound less organic. All the stuff sounds perfectly, there's so many drum machines, everything's perfectly in time. People have tuned their voices the way they do guitars, and it just doesn't sound human a lot of times anymore. It's a little too perfect. You put it perfectly when you use the word organic, Cordell. And people have called my last album Above the Ground, they have called it organic because we really did sing and play everything.
Yeah. And it's almost a lost art. It's almost a lost art.
Well, it's the great thing today, if you have a good live show, you can go out and play forever because there are so many people using computers and it does sound fake. We get rave reviews about our shows, our live shows, because it's all really happening on stage. We don't use any layering at all.
That's so true. That's an excellent point because, a lot of these bands, they can get into the studio and some of them just lend themselves to a good producer, but once they get out there on stage, then
that's a different world.
Yeah.
I mean, we all remember that travesty of Milli Vanilli. And what happened, I saw the actual footage where they were out lip-syncing, and, the computer hit a glitch, and it's like a record skipping, da-dum, 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 and that's what happened on stage with the Milli Vanilli vocals. And I've seen the footage where Rob and Fab ran off the stage in horror, in embarrassment, and there's never any danger of that happening to us because everything we do, we play and sing live. It's all live right there in front of the crowd.
Indeed. One of Canada's greatest songwriters, of course, you're in the Songwriters Hall of Fame. When it comes to writing, what's your muse? And I don't mean necessarily a person, but, what gets you inspired?
Well, I've been asked that. I can't tell you how many times I've been asked that, and I don't really have a specific rules. I don't have a set of rules or a specific, I don't know how to put this. There's no set pattern when I write songs. If I get an idea, it doesn't matter if I'm in an elevator or a hotel room on the road or on an airplane. If I get an idea for lyrics and stuff, I'll scribble them down. If I want specifically to write a song, I'll go to the keyboard and play around with some different chord progressions and stuff, and then see if anything happens. But I've never forced the songwriting in all the years, and I've written, I don't know, I guess over 300 of my songs now have actually made it to commercial release on record or CD, and that's a lot. But I've never really belabored the songwriting process. I just wait until I get inspired. I do. Now, you speak about the muse. I do go online and read great poetry by Kipling and Keats and Edgar Allan Poe and other people that I really like, and I allow myself to be influenced by the meter and the cadence that they use and the rhythms of their work, but that's not stealing.
No.
That's just actually allowing yourself to be influenced by the greats. And I often said to myself, what if Shakespeare and Keats and Kipling, and what if they had all had access to the internet? And with one, stroke of a key, they could have read each other's works. How much more great poetry do you think we would have had?
Yeah.
It's a great time to be living if you're a creative person, because you have access to all the great creations of man on the internet, all in one place. It's all been filtered down to one place. If you know how to Google and do research, you can find out almost anything. So if you embrace the times we live in, you really do have a lot at your fingertips.
I heard actually you were coming out with a book. Did that come out, the book of poetry?
It's coming this year. It's going to be another 2 or 3 months. We're just finalizing everything. It's going to be a beautiful thing to hold in your hands. Gilded edge pages and wonderful presentation. I want it to be very special when the reader holds it in his hand. I want it to have a vibe to it. So it's going to be this year sometime. And I'm very, very proud of that.
Have you thought about doing like a William Shatner thing and reading it to music?
Well, not so much to music, but I've thought about reading some of them and including a CD of my own voice reading with the proper inflection.
Yeah.
You know, we've thought about that a little bit, but we're just in the finalizing stages now, so that may happen indeed.
I've got to ask you a question. You know, I was looking at a video of of an early performance of the Guess Who the other day, and I totally forgot there was a time when Burton Cummings did not have the legendary mustache.
Oh yeah, no, that was there's a lot of footage of it. You know, if you go to YouTube, honest to God, half my life is on YouTube.
It's so true.
It's really amazing. I just about 3 months ago, one of my fans online sent me a link, and they said, "You got to see I've never seen these films." We weren't even calling them videos yet. This was from 1974. The Guess Who, the real Guess Who, not the fake Guess Who that's out there now, but the real band. We went to Amsterdam and did some television shows in Amsterdam, Holland, and they filmed the whole thing. And suddenly these videos or films, whatever you want to call them, have surfaced to the Internet. I never remember even seeing them once. And here we are doing about 4 songs. I'm actually wearing fur. I mean, it's that long ago. I've been an animal rights activist for years, and here I am wearing fur. I mean, it's really bizarre. But it exemplifies what I'm talking about with the Internet. You know, if there was ever a piece of film or video of you done, and you're got some kind of notoriety, chances are it's up on YouTube by now.
That's right.
And I've keep discovering more videos from different television shows that we did way back 30, 40 years ago. You know, it's really remarkable at what has surfaced on the Internet.
Well, this year, I'm determined to grow a Burton Cummings mustache. That's my goal. See how that goes.
Well, good going. You know, hopefully you'll have one like Lanny McDonald.
Let's talk about the show. Caesars Windsor, March 23rd. We're not too far off now, and I assume you're going to be playing some of those classic hits from late 60s and 70s, of course.
Oh, we do. You know what? When our live show happens these days, we do everything that people expect and want to hear.
Everything. They're
going to hear No Sugar Tonight, New Mother Nature, Albert Flasher, Clap for the Wolfman, Laughing, American Woman, Hand Me Down World, No Time, Share the Land. We do all the songs that really made an impression on people. And I'll tell you another thing, very interesting for me, as every time another year goes by, you know, of course we've had losses. I mean, now Whitney is gone and Davy Jones, and so many luminaries from pop music have left us. And yet here I am again, another year's gone by, I'm going out on the road to do my show again. It becomes more special every year.
Yeah.
Every time we can go out, the world is a year older, the fans are a year older, they may have had personal losses, divorces, or a death in the family, or losses of some type, and yet we come around, we show up, we do the songs again, we still sound like the record. It is a bit like a time machine.
Yeah.
And it becomes more intrinsically valuable every year. That show that we do gives the people that 2 hours of release and time travel, you know. So I know it's more important every year.
You just seem like you're just chock full of energy and just you still have such vitality to your, you know, just talking to you over the phone, you can really sense that.
Well, I mean that's very complimentary of you to say that. I realize that I've led a bit of a charmed life, you know. I really have. And I try and consider myself an enlightened person, and I'm thankful. You know, I do go around with an attitude of gratitude about all this stuff that has occurred in my life. And I've been lucky enough to travel the whole world 5 or 6 times. You know, we toured all over Australia, New Zealand, Japan, played in Hawaii about 10 or 12 times, including every state, including Alaska and every province. And you know, it's been a remarkable ride for me. So I don't, I am grateful about all of it. And if that sounds corny, that's too bad, you know. But I realize I've lived 50 lifetimes compared to a lot of people. So maybe that's the vitality that you say you hear.
Well, I can't wait to see it in person. Again, Caesars Windsor, March 23rd. Tickets available at caesarswindsor.ca. Burton Cummings, a real pleasure. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you very much, Cordell. It's my pleasure. Looking forward to the show. See everybody at Caesars.